Hi, welcome, guys, welcome, girls, and every human in between. This is the Bear With Me podcast. I'm your host, Whit. Before we get started, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, and tell a friend, and tell a friend. Bear With Me podcast available on all platforms. I just want to give y'all a quick update. I now started book content. So if you're listening and you are a reader or want to get into reading, please go check out my YouTube page. I have started making bookish content. The history or the story, I'm going to keep it short. I worked with really good English teachers in my early years in education once I started working. And two really stuck out to me as far as like the type of English teachers that they were, and working alongside with them to help ensure strategies to help students grow in my class. I learned so much from them, and one in particular, she is a really strong reader and she's really passionate about reading. She started, well, I won't say she started reading, but she's been a reader since I've known her. I'll never forget one day I asked her, how many books do you read a year? And she said, last year I read 125. I said, oh my God. I thought that was super cool and I admired that about her. And so I saw in working with alongside her as a teacher and as a coworker, I wanted to get more into reading. COVID definitely helped that. And so my reading grew, my personal reading, my personal reading really grew in 2020 and it took off in 2021 and so forth and so on. And now what started off as like an intentional hobby has now become another avenue on my YouTube channel. So if you are a person who enjoys reading or wants to just hear more about different books and just like kind of explore that world, please check out my YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe and check that out. Of course, my YouTube channel is Bear With Me Podcast and More. That's the YouTube channel name because it's not just a podcast. Excuse me. It is now becoming a little bit of everything because like I told y'all when in episode 1 of season 3, I can't, why did I say it like that? I can't just try to find this very specific lane. I'm too fluid for my I won't say for my own good, but I like to move and don't like to be boxed in. And so my channel is not just my podcast. It is my podcast and bookish content and some more stuff that's developing. So shout out to my homegirl, Amber. Follow her on YouTube as well, Happily Amber After. And yeah, let's get into it. So sometimes I won't say sometimes, I prefer to batch record, but if I don't have enough on deck of things I want to talk about, I kind of get a little, and when I say, I mean like a little stuck in regards to what I want to talk about. And so I got to kind of see what spirit moves and or what spirit says type, and then also just kind of like very aware of what I'm experiencing or what I'm seeing around me. And I was uh I was like, I want to do something light because I was like, we've been deep. And as much as I be coming across deep in the podcast, from day to day, hour to hour, we got the laughs, we got the giggles. And so I was just like, let's do something light. But I was like, I don't know what I want to do light. I don't know. And I was like, let's do movies. And I was like, that's gonna be like, I wanted it to be good. Not that it wouldn't have been good. And I kind of wanted to revisit an episode about Disney soundtracks that slapped, but I didn't want to do that same vein. So I was kind of just like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and it kind of just like in the conversation about Disney movies, we started talking about Pixar and how they have such strong messaging in their movies. And so We're going to talk about two movies that have had a message back then very much relevant to now. And so, I don't know which one I want to do first. I went back and I watched, well, one of them I never saw from start to finish until this past weekend when I was like, this a movie I knew that I don't even know how I realized that I wanted to do that movie. Can't remember. Backstory no longer really important no more. But I knew it was one movie that I wanted to do, and it's A Bug's Life. A Bug's Life came out in 1998, and the topic very much models where we are as a society. And so I'm a tell you the story or give you the plot of or the premise of the movie, and then some very specific lines I had to like play pause to really quote what they was saying that was like, oh my goodness. So A Bug's Life it came out in 1998. It was one of the earlier Pixar films, and it talked about, or it was about an ant colony who got food for grasshoppers and then later on got food for themselves right before the rainy season came. And so the main character, his name is Flick. He is an innovator and he wants to work efficiently, and just like he sees life a bit more, not a bit more, but he sees life differently than the rest of his colony members. And so he's kind of like an outcast. People don't really be rocking with him. He be coming up with inventions and stuff like that, and they be like, "Bro, like, stay in your lane. Let's get this food." There is, I won't call it a contract, but there's an agreement between the ants and the grasshoppers. The ants harvest the food, the grasshoppers eat the food. And there's a level of like protection, if you will, that the grasshoppers are providing the ants. But you don't really see that in the movie. So like, what we really talking about? How you really protecting us? But okay, whatever. So they are piling up all of the food they didn't harvested for these grasshoppers, and it was a lot of food. Flick's invention, they hear the grasshoppers coming to get ready to eat. Flick tosses his invention near the harvested food for the grasshoppers to eat, and his invention causes the food to fall into the water. So the grasshoppers come, they pissed off, and they like, we coming back before the end of summer, and our we want our food. And so the queen is like, how we gonna get y'all food and our food before the harvest? He was like, I don't care, but figure it out. So now they trying to harvest essentially three times. So they had the original meal or original order for the grasshoppers. Now they got to redo, and then they got to have food for themselves for the rainy season. And so everybody pissed off at Flick, and he like, yo, what we really talking about? Let's fight them. Like, he's thinking big picture. We don't gotta. Why we over here on this track like this? Like, we don't gotta be with them. We don't have to. And they like, all right, you done messed up the system and the structure that we had. So go on and go find somebody to fight with us for them. Cause they nervous and they like, what army? So then they hoping he gonna go to the city, cause it was like, I don't know what area, cause ain't really no city. You don't really know that type of stuff, but they're in a more less trafficked area or a rural area, if you will. And so they was like, gone. This your punishment for messing us up. He actually came back with some people. That man came back with some people to help fight against these grasshoppers. Now, I'm not gonna get into the specifics of that, but it was very interesting how it happened. It was also in a very cute way, like, you know, of course they kept it still kid friendly and stuff. So while he's gone, they like, that man ain't finna come back. We sent him on a dead mission anyway, so we need to be harvesting for the grasshoppers and for us. And he ended up coming back with people, and they like, what? What's crazy? So now they like, all right, we got warriors. Let's do this. But they really a little scared. I'm not gonna really tell you what happens about the rest of that. We gonna get into the lines. So in the first 6 minutes, I want to say, the lead grasshopper, he says something. Now, I also want to provide a little context. The queen ant, her daughter is rising to become the next queen. And so she like greeted the grasshopper and he was like, where the food at? That's not how we doing this and everything like that. And she was like, it's not my fault. This is what he says. First rule of leadership, everything is your fault. Because when you write, you write. I'm gonna just go ahead and let that sit and y'all think about that in relation to 2026. Because some people don't really want to own that what's going on is because you keep touching and messing with stuff. All right. Second quote, paint the scene. It's still in that same it's still in that same scene where he talking to the rising queen. He says, sun grows the food, ants pick the food, grasshoppers eat the food. Consider it a circle of life type of situation. Oh, this what I'm supposed to do is what you telling me. Okay. Now here is the scene that, oh my goodness. Now remind you, Flick, he know the ants value and everything like that. He like, let's fight them. Like they like, no, we're not finna fight them. So we fast forward maybe an hour into the movie, and the grasshoppers are back wherever they dwell. And his little brother, goofy little whatever you want to call him, he talking to some old people, and they was like, we don't gotta go back. Like they kind of on the same thing. Like, why is we going back? Like we don't really gotta do this. Ooh. So then they was like, yeah, you should tell your brother. You should tell your brother. And then they gassing him up. They was like, your brother the head, you like the VP. And he was like, yeah, I am. So then he go talk to his brother. He was like, I was kind of thinking, I had an idea. Like, what if we don't go back? And he like, what? So then he was like, yeah, okay, well, never mind. It wasn't really my idea, no way. So then he go into the little area where everybody at. And he says, he was like, yeah, so I heard y'all thinking about us not going back. And they was like, yeah. They was like, it's just one ant. Because there was kind of like a little moment where they, in the conversation, they was just like, it's only one that really got a problem with us. We like, it's not a big issue. And so he was like, it's just one ant. They're puny. That's what one of the dudes said. I say dudes like these real people, but whatever. He say, so then the leader grasshopper, he says, you let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food, it's about keeping those ants in line. Oh, okay. That lets you know that man, let's say that grasshopper, the lead grasshopper, knows the value of the ants. And he done got this little system, and he is just really trying his bestest to keep his system and his way of life where ultimately he's benefiting, and all the little worker ants is just ran through and ran dry. And so that lets you know, oh, you know what's up. And I'm just like, sometimes I wonder if we, those that look like me, know our worth, know our value. And I think we ultimately do, because I think about all of the voter rights reversals and just like a lot of these different things that are happening. And it really hit me so hard. And I had to really have a self-reflective moment, because I was like, if our votes didn't count, they wouldn't be working so hard to do all of this gerrymandering and all of this reassigning and all of this and all of this and all of this. Like, it do count. It do count. It do count. And so it was just very much a message. And so I was watching, I was like, that's crazy. In 1998, these writers knew what they knew and made it more kid friendly and palatable and also enjoyable for the adults. Okay. You talking 98. Yeah. So that was that. Like, A Bug's Life, Yeah. Go back and check it out if you ain't seen it in a while because it hit. It hit. And it's funny and it's cute and it's, nice. So to my friends who have children, because we now at that age, go ahead and run back a classic with your kids. That was A Bug's Life. The second movie. Now, unfortunately, I ain't had no quotes because to me, it was more of a visual message. So let me paint the picture. Oh, let me tell you the movie. Tripping. I don't know how to say it without making it sound awkward. Wall-E. Okay. Wall-E. Wall-E or Wall-E, however you want to say it. But yeah, the fun fact, it came out in 2008. I saw it, but I saw it in like clips. I see the robot rolling all around, and then that's it. Like, it never really spoke to me back then. I'm sorry, guys. Chew me up in the comments and meet me, and we can talk about it later. But yeah, I never really saw it. So I was talking to my friend. I think that's how the conversation. I was talking to my friend. I was talking about what I want my next episode to be, or just, yeah. And then we just kind of started talking, and she was like, another good message is Wall-E. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, fun fact, I never seen it. And then she was like, well, we finna watch it. I said, all right, babe, let's watch it. If I could just take a moment. Not that I always need talking. I remember when I started watching it, why I fell asleep on it, because it was just so slow and there was no talking. And I'm just like, we following this robot collect trash. Like, what are we talking about? When you sit down, open your mind, open your heart, and just really just allow yourself to consume, you see what it is. So let me paint the picture for you for Wall-E. Earth is uninhabitable. Yeah, I think so. Can't live on it. There's so much trash. Pause. Okay. Trash everywhere. So I want you to think about that for a second. Now, while your street and your neighborhood might look good and clean, where that trash going? Recycling, as we know it to be? Is it really recycling? Okay. Keep going with. So they started offering these cruises, these space cruises. And now it got to a point where everybody just gone off of Earth, and they got multiple Wall-Es cleaning up, and their job is to just collect the trash, compress it, and then just put it in a little section. Question, comment, concern for me right now as I'm saying it back. Y'all now live in a spaceship in the universe, in the galaxy. Ain't nobody coming back to visit, because once we collect all this trash nice and neatly, what we doing with it? They just collecting it nice and neatly. All right, whatever. Keep going. So they then send Eve, whatever she calls herself. They would send her to Earth to scan Earth to see if there is a life source. She sees a plant, but also in her time being there, Wall-E fall in love with her. Then she ends up shutting down, waiting on, and it all makes sense why it took so long for the spaceship to come get her. She a little robot. She detect for life, and she found a plant. She put it in her, and then she was waiting on the spaceship to come back and get her. He was sad that she was finna leave, so he went with her. Get on the ship. Everybody moving around the ship on, I won't say mopeds, but like mopeds for that's kind of like a recliner. So they don't walk around. Everybody big as a house. Anything they say they want to eat, it just come up in a form of a cup, and then they drink it. Another message. What really threw me off in 2008 when this movie came out, y'all. 2008. While they sit in their little recliner and they don't walk around no more, they got a screen right here. Like, right in their face. Constant feeding them. Constantly feeding them. So, also, the name of the company who first just started doing cruises before they all had to just leave. It was called By and Large. By in letter N. Yeah, by letter N large. By and Large. Let it sink, y'all. Yeah, yeah. Think about the consumption and the overconsumption that we have as a country right now. I can tell you right now a very personal, and I'm really fighting against it. Now I'm on my bookish content. I'm in my book girl era. And now I just want to buy books. I just want to buy books. I just want to buy books. I am itching to go to the bookstore as we speak. I told myself, like, maybe after we record, we go to the bookstore. And I was like, do we want to go to the bookstore and read, or do we want to go to the bookstore and browse? Or do we want to read, browse, and buy? And I'm just like, Whit, you already have books. Like, you got books. So what are we really talking about? But I'm like, I just want to go. And I'm just like, I'm really fighting not going because I have plenty of books that I'm scheduled to read. And I also just have, like, we don't have to do that. To me, I like a physical book over audiobooks and any other stuff like that. Like, it's something about holding that book, turning that page, you feel very much in there. That's just my personal thing. But I'm just like, I know that there is a level for some content creators in the bookish realm where they're buying books to just buy books. And on the one hand, it's like, cool, buying books, you're supporting the author, everything like that. But also the trees. So wait, why you buy books? I don't know. Don't worry about that, okay? And then I think about just like all the waste we create. Like, I'm moving back to the movie. Sorry, guys. All of the waste that we create with fast fashion. You getting these little $2 and $3 shirts off Shein and Temu and what's the other one? Fashion Nova and Fashion House, all this, all that. And where does that stuff go once you're done wearing it because you want to stay current or you want to keep doing whatever? That stuff then washes up on the shores of second and third world countries. And it's like they typically thrive in textiles and just like all the things, but like they can't even express their craft because they busy trying to wear the stuff that's being dropped off and can't nothing be done with it. And so just like legit landfills of plastics, microplastics, clothes, shoes because of fast fashion. And it just makes me sad because it's like, what if we really can't inhabit Earth because it's just that much trash? What we gonna do? And it's not a concern for us here in the U.S. because we're removed from our trash, but a lot of our trash is at people's front doors. Coastal development is eroding at our, like, we're eroding. It's just a lot. We're eating or eroding away ecosystems is what I was trying to say. Anyway, so the captain of the cruise ship, because also you gotta know, it ain't a whole lot of talking in the whole movie. It's just not really, because it's centered around Wally and Eva. So it's not a whole lot of talking. So once we do finally meet the captain, he finds out that, oh, he don't even know how long they've been on the ship. They've been on the ship 700 years. 700 years. And then this is another part that I wish that they would have explored. How are they really reproducing? And why was the ship not overpopulated? And what they do with the people that get old and die, and how, and what are the causes of death for when they get old and die? You know, my brain went left field real fast. So that was that. But found out that it's plant life, and he wants to go. The captain wants to go back to Earth because that's what the protocol said. Like, all right, once we know that we can go back and there's life, we need to go back to Earth. But autopilot, which is like his computer system, he overrides what the captain says. The captain was like, no, show me the video. And then it goes back to the person who was like the CEO or founder in large. And it was like, it was something about we can't never go back to Earth. This part get a little fuzzy because I started blinking. real slow and real long. So I do apologize that this part of my memory ain't the strongest. He then, this was another level that really, he was like, no, I want to go back to Earth. I want to go back to Earth. So then he starts learning the history of where they at on this ship. And they start panning from the first pilot all the way up to him. And you gradually see the pilots get fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. Because all they doing is sitting on their little recliner and they don't ever move, exercise, or nothing or nothing. They don't even really interact with each other. Oh, one of the scenes, they moving through the ship. They sitting right next to each other. They talking to each other via the screen. I remember when cell phones kind of, not say became popular like early 2000s, but when they was really truly ticking up. And I remember I was with some people and they called each other from separate parts of the house. And I thought it was so weird. I was like, we're using the phone to talk to each other from one room to the other. Like, it kind of was like, ugh. And nowadays, I'm pretty sure that is common AF and not really a fan of it. I live alone, so I don't know, you know? But anyway, so the part that threw me, the the pilot is trying to learn about Earth and what it looked like and all the things. He was like, define Earth. And then it would define Earth and all of that. And it was like, define pizza, define dancing, define country, define dirt, define this, define that. Let me give y'all a processing moment. What that sound like, y'all? What that sound like when they was doing that in 2008 in that movie? What that sound like, y'all? AI is what it sounds like. You don't know nothing but what you consuming in this screen right here that is basically being designed for you by this system that y'all live in. And now you don't even know 700 years ago where you used to live or what it used to look like or whatever. And now you are searching up everything. I was on the gram. Was I on the gram? I don't know. I was on some platform. And I felt the same way because I remember when I used to Google something and websites would pop up. Now, when you Google, it's going to tell you, it's going to give you AI. Then I was also talking to my friend and she made a really good point, or either she made a really good point or I saw it somewhere else, but it was talking about AI itself. And AI doesn't give you actual sources. It gives you a synopsis of information that it's been given. So it may or may not be factual. And I said, wow. So when people be like, ask ChatGPT, ask this, ask that, what? Like, you're not even truly getting actual resourced information. You're getting a hodgepodge of stuff that's been given to you. And all of it might not be accurate or correct. And I'm just like, dang, like, this sucks. And so those are two movies that are over almost, 98 is almost 30 years ago, right? Oh, wait, 18, 28, yeah, almost 30 years ago. That's crazy. 98 was almost 30 years ago. That's crazy. And then you got 2008, almost 20 years ago. And they very much mirror where we are now. And I'm just like, wow. The writers and the developers of Pixar, they be in a bag. So I just want to give Pixar some love because they really be educating. If you ain't never seen Inside Out, oh my gosh. That is my favorite Pixar movie. I cry every time. I cry even more on the second one when she was having that anxiety attack and Joy came in. Oh, that was so good. And then I also cried on one with Bing Bong. I will never forget when I saw Inside Out for the first time. You talking about hooked. That was such a good movie. So Pixar being a bag, when you think about Soul, when you think about Inside Out, when you think about Turning Red, Message behind that. I only seen it one time. I do want to revisit to see that, to get that message one more time. So meet me in the comments with your favorite Pixar movies, because Pixar be dropping gems and I'm really here. Fun fact, I've never seen Up. Maybe I'll watch that. Maybe I'll watch that and y'all let me know. I won't say I've never seen Up because again, I've seen pieces. Like I seen a dog say squirrel. I remember in the beginning when he got out the bed and he was like stuck and he was like, and he like had to crack his back and all that. Like I seen that part, but I don't know the premise of Up. But I do know that Pixar makes really good films, and meet me in the comments with your favorite Pixar film. I want y'all to think. Oh, and also let me know what other movies have a message that definitely people need to be aware of and be watching, whether that be something old or something new. But be aware that they telling us what they was telling us then, and they telling, and if they not telling us now, please remember that yeah, we real, and we got some weight behind us, and we just gotta work together. We're stronger in numbers, and we gotta really, it gotta be a collaborative effort to do what we need to do to see the change that we want to see. I love y'all. Until next time, wishing you, nope, I said it backwards. Wishing you love, light, and laughter. Until next time, until we meet again, have a great day.